He's been named one of the world's top 10 guitarists by Guitarist magazine and one of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time by Classic Rock magazine.
Oh, wait, there's more. He was Supertramp's lead guitarist for more than 3 decades. He is Carl Verheyen, and he's joining us because he's going to head to Seattle pretty soon with the Carl Verheyen Band. Carl, it's so great to have you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love coming to Seattle.
What is
I've
it about
many times?
What is about that stage at the Triple Door and our city?
Well, the Triple Door, it's one of the best sounding rooms. I think it's because it's probably an old movie theater, right? Or some sort of a theater. And so it seems to be built for sound. And the crew there is amazing. They make it sound so good. And I've actually shot video in there to use for promotional reasons all over the world, So I love the TD. It's great. Great people, great food. So anyway, and then I've played across the street at what's the name of the Symphony Hall?
Benaroya.
Benaroya.
Benaroya, yeah. I've played there with Stuart Copeland from the Police, and he's got a thing called Police Deranged for Orchestra, where he's taken all these Police tunes and made them so that he and I and a bass player and 3 singers work with an orchestra doing Police music, and it's super fun.
I was actually going to ask you about that.
Place.
Yeah. How is it to play with an orchestra?
That place out.
How is it?
It's really neat. I mean, as a studio musician in LA, I've done hundreds and hundreds of orchestra sessions. And somewhere I've been the principal soloist, which is quite unnerving because if I'm the guy that all 105 people in the room, I'm the one who gets to sign off whether I liked my take or not, So I'm the guy that makes them do it all again. And these are for big movie soundtracks and stuff like that. So that's a little scary, that orchestral thing,
Carl,
playing live's different.
You're a session musician, in addition to, we'll go over your just storied career. But I think of, when I hear session musician, I hear the Wrecking Crew, something like that, where you have to be so spot on for so many different genres of music. What is that like for you, just going in? Sometimes I'm imagining you're going in cold, performing with big things at stake.
Right, yeah. So, I at some point in my career, I realized that I really like all kinds of genres of music. If it's good music, I dig it, right? So I span from from ZZ Top to Stravinsky. You know what I mean? So I'll go in and they'll say, we need this to sound like ZZ Top, right? For today. And I remember this was a movie called Walking Tall that I played on. And I go, okay, ZZ Top, that's Billy Gibbons. He plays a Les Paul guitar through a Fender Champ amp. He uses the sort of pinch harmonics. He's got the Texas Shuffle, which is different than the Chicago Shuffle. Boom, here it is. And that's because I'm a fan, so I can do that. I dig doing that. But you have to compartmentalize your career into 3 different things. One was the well-listened craftsman, meaning I'm kind of like a plumber. I look under your sink and I go, I'm going to need an elbow and a 1/4 inch and a street L. I need a pipe wrench and I'm going to need the tape, So that's that, right? I'm going to need to sound like ZZ Top. I'm going to need that guitar, that amplifier, that mentality. Another career of mine has been Supertramp, where I was a member, and yet there's a musical vision that the band had from the very start, back in 1970, yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I had to think in terms of what is their thing? It's sort of progressive rock meets English dance hall music meets pop, and sort of put that together and say, you would never say, how about I put some banjo on this track? That would not fly, right? So that's another career too. And then with my own band, it's just wide open. I can take all those influences, and if it needs banjo, damn well put it on.
Tell me about your. Tell us about your audition for Supertramp.
Oh man, that was funny because I worked at a studio and got home and I really vibed with the engineer. It was some female vocalist's record, and I don't even remember her name, but we were playing, and I was getting some good sounds, and he was getting good sounds from me. So we exchanged numbers, and I got home, and about 9:30 that night, I got a call from a guy named Norman Hall, but he sounded like this. It's Norman Hall. It was so British, he could barely speak it all. So he said, would I like to audition for Supertramp at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow? And I go, well, okay, but this is this is 1985, well before YouTube videos and I didn't own any of the records actually. So I wasn't really a big fan, but I got there at 9:30 in the morning, and it was a big mansion down here in Encino, Rick Davies' house. And I went through the gates and went up, and they said it's around back. There's a studio around back. And the Supertramp guys were on a tennis court on kind of a higher level, like the big backyard, then a higher level. And they were in tennis whites playing tennis, as one does. So I went in, set up, and when they came in, I said, I'm so sorry. I got the call at 9:30 last night. I really don't know any of your songs. I don't know any of your music. And Rick says, we don't want to play any of our bloody songs. Let's play the blues. So we played the blues, and they made me sing one, and they recorded it, and as I was walking out, I saw Buzzy Featon, who's a famous LA guitar player. He played in the band called Full Moon, and he played with the Butterfield Blues Band. I think he was even in the Rascals for a while, Buzz Featon. And I was a big fan of his. I have his records. So I saw him coming in, and I go, oh, that does it. And at the time, he was playing with Kenny Loggins, I know. So I thought, I'll never get this gig. Well, they called me back that night and said, you're doing it. But that was as a sideman. So I went from playing for 20 people a night in a jazz club to 20,000, the next night. So that was crazy.
Carl, as I understand it, that Supertramp membership also led you to playing kind of an intimate audience for the guy who's now the King of England. Can you talk about that?
Oh yeah, man, that was hysterical. So we did a 5 days at the Royal Albert Hall. And one of the nights was going to be the Prince's Trust, meaning all the proceeds go to Prince Charles and Lady Diana's trust. And so there was an etiquette lesson in the afternoon, as one does. And you're told you don't shake their hands, you don't ask them anything. And then there was after sound check, there was a long wait where we're upstairs in the royal receiving room, and they're counting down. The royal family will be here in 45 minutes, and then 43 minutes, and then 41 minutes. They just kept counting down and telling us, and we're lined up and just kind of, okay, at ease. We still have another 35 minutes, right? So then they show up in two different Rolls Royces at the exact same time. And I could look around and look out this window. We're on about the 5th or 6th floor. I could see these vehicles, right? And they both get out of separate cars, and the guys going, the royal family will be here in 3 minutes. And we can see them coming up this stairway. And then she comes along, and she is just radiantly beautiful, Lady Diana. And she says to me, so, Carl William Verheyen, what was it like growing up in Pasadena, California, and learning to play the lead guitar? And I'm going, well, I learned to play rhythm. I learned to play rhythm guitar too. Anyway, she's got all this info on me. Then she goes on, right? When Prince Charles comes along, he doesn't know what day it is, what band it is. I mean, he probably has guys that put his socks on for him, So I had read in the London Times that he had been in Houston, Texas, and for his birthday, and they had made him a sheet cake the size of a basketball court. So I just couldn't help myself. I said, Your Highness, I just have to ask you, what was it like with that sheet cake? That giant cake. And he said, he gets this Cockney accent, and he goes, well, I wanted to put on me knickers and wade out into the middle of it. So I'm going, man, with the frosting between your toes, and you just reach up and grab up. I said, man, that would have been so cool, you know. So we had a little groove going. We had a thing, you know, just a moment. And we'd laughed about that a little bit more and, you know, what flavor and stuff. Then he moves on. Then these doors open into this royal cocktail room, and we go in and we're all handed champagne. And I'm looking around. I see David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. I see Roger Daltrey from The Who. I see Tina Turner, and I see Bryan Adams, all these rock royalty people, you know. And but Charles comes to me, you know, he wants to hang. So he comes to me, and he's kind of a close talker, you know what I mean? Kind of backing away. And the thought that went through my mind as we're talking, because he's asking me, where have you been? Where are you going from here? All the usual, where do you go from here? Blah, blah, blah. And all I could think of was, you may be the future king of England, but that dude's in The Who. In other words, I want to hang with Roger Daltrey, not you.
Sorry.
So, anyway, it was just a funny moment. And we all went to a club afterwards where Lady Diana went, and she was dancing with her girlfriends like until 3 a.m. You know, so it was an interesting night. So
many stories
crazy.
You must have. Can you describe the show we're going to see at the TD, as you call it? Just describe.
Yeah, the triple door. Yeah. So I've got a fantastic band. There's 5 of us, and it used to be a trio for years. Then I added a keyboard player who also plays guitar. We were playing in Austria, and his wife came out to see us, and her name is Holly. And the bass player in my band, he goes, you know, Holly's a really great singer, right? I said, okay, I'll tell you what, here's your part. And I gave her a harmony part. Well, she sat in with us, and I go, wait a minute, why aren't you in this band? And so maybe 3 months later, she joined the band, and she's been in it ever since. I think it's been about 3 years. So it's guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and vocalist. And what I noticed about having a harmony singer is it really kicks I have to not only remember my own lyrics, which is difficult. This is the second verse, not the third. But I have to really, really concentrate on singing in tune and phrasing like we rehearsed, you know what I mean? So that's been fantastic because the drummer sings and the keyboard player sings. So instead of this guitar raging fusion shredding band, it's now really great for all ages. And there's 4-part harmony, and there's songs and songs and songs, as opposed to, I went to hear a great band the other night. Everybody's a famous musician, but the songs were just vehicles for them to, for the guitar player to shred on, right? And that's not what I want to do anymore. I want to play music, and I learned a lot from Supertramp.
Well,
I really learned that there's a spirit to it that's just uplifting and promising, and that's what I want to bring across.
Okay, so you can catch the show. It's coming up Friday the 24th. It's the Triple Door in Seattle. As Princess Diana might say, that's Carl Verheyen of Pasadena, where he learned to play guitar. Carl, thanks so much for joining us today. Lead guitar. My apologies to the Royals.
Yeah, you really learn rhythm too. That's how you make a living. So
nice to
thank
chat.
you so much, you guys.